Okay, I guess we'll get started at 7 o'clock. Welcome, everybody. Just to let everyone know that this meeting is being streamed live and recorded for public viewing on the town's YouTube page. At the appropriate time, if anybody has a declaration, excuse me, of pecuniary interest, please declare it at that time. Moving on, number 4. I have a motion here moved by Nagel, seconded by Charlene. That the minutes be adopted by the Plympton-Wyoming Special Events Committee, and that those competent minutes of the closed session of the committee remain confidential and restricted from public disclosure in accordance with the exemptions provided in the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. I think, do we all have the minutes? Yes, we all have the minutes. Front of us there. Is there any comments, amendments on those? Seeing none, all in favor? Thank you. Business arising from the previous minutes. So we had all kind of expressed concern about our garages. We're all getting a little full of the stuff we're accumulating. So we went out and got some quotes from different places. Mike had contacted local storage companies, and they were about 150 a month, plus tax. And then I had contacted a few people that I know about a 20-foot sea can as a secondary option. Now, the only thing with a sea can is you have to have ventilation in them, or they can develop condensation, but you can put our at least 6 vents in, should go in. So that is about 2,500 delivered to Wyoming or wherever we're going to put it, if that is even a possibility. So the question I guess I would have for Adam would be, what we're thinking is, if we did get a sea can, because it's going to financially be cheaper in the long run, whether behind the plow's head at the works yard in the corner, that's somewhat out of the way of the parking lot, somewhat, or the other works yard that's by the train tracks. I haven't been over there yet to see it inside of the building if there's a spot there.
I think Al would have to review that with his foremans to see if that's accommodatable and where it would go.
For sure.
So we did try a sea can of our own about 5 years ago, and we found it at the time it didn't work very well, too much condensation, and it just it didn't work for us. But we're storing mostly documents, so it was not ideal.
Right, a little bit more sensitive to paper than, yeah. So those are the two options, I guess, that we kind of explored. Comments on it, I guess. Here.
Just to confirm, are sea cans legal to have? Because I think I heard at one time in certain areas you're allowed to have them, but in others you can't. So I think we would want to check with our bylaws to ensure that that would be proper.
So at our public works facility, it would be legal.
Okay.
At a commercial facility with outside storage allowed by zoning and their site plan, if they had one, it would be legal. It would not be legal at any residential property.
So you want it at your place, Brad? Side yard room or?
Unless you would like to talk to somebody.
I'll send Mike
I'd
down.
say no.
So those are the two options anyway that we can maybe think about. There's not really any great rush right now, but I think that's something to consider.
So basically what you're suggesting the sea can for, because it would have itself paid off for in about two years of storage.
Yeah, and if anything happened to the committee, the town would then be able to potentially sell the sea can or use it for its own storage and for the cost at least somewhat. The storage is kind of paying for a storage unit is the fund cost.
Is that one of the smaller sea cans?
20 foot.
We have some electronic stuff too, don't we?
We do, yep, and that's why a minimum of 6 vents in certain locations would be enough for airflow.
They come with fence or do we, would
We'll put them in, which isn't very hard, so I've already had the day in class on that one. So, anyway, it's just something to think about, but definitely, there's not a great rush, I'm just throwing that out tonight, and if the town wants to let us know the ins and the outs, I guess.
Yeah, we'll, Public Works will review it, see if they can accommodate it. We'll go from there. What's entailed in installing the fence, so.
Basically just mark them off and what most of it's cut with is just a metal cutting blade, you know, with a grinder wheel.
Hole saw, metal hole saw, yeah, you can cut 'em. It's pretty, it's fairly light metal for comparing what they size and what they can carry. You get through them pretty easily.
Our staff would have to do that, though. I wouldn't want volunteers operating metal cutting saws.
Yeah, I would kind of assume that that they would be a lot thicker compared to what they're used for than what they actually are.
I guess we'll have Public Works review that with their staff and their directors, see if that's they can accommodate, and we'll go from there.
Yep, that's no problem. So moving on, 5.2, Nicole, if you wanna pull up that one low, party for it, just so that we have it. Well, these are the main events that we've proposed for the year. The additional at the bottom. We have had requests over the last couple of years for an Easter in the park. I don't really want to call it Easter in the park as everybody else does. So we're gonna call it Easter Extravaganza, I thought. So we had done some research. It'll be at if we have it, it'll be at the Kamlaki Community Center, Saturday, March 30th from 11 till 1, Gord, do we figure? Yeah, yes. It's a free event, but we would need registration required, just so that we know how many people are gonna come, how much candy to get, so on and so on. So the committee's talked back and forth about some ideas. An egg hunt, Easter balloon creation, face painting. The Huron Shores Optimists have come forward and offered free hot dogs, pop and chips. And have a visit with the Easter Bunny. And then the committee talked about some other things too, so that's what I need to talk about tonight, I guess.
So if we're doing hot dogs, pop and chip by the Optimist, can we do like 11 to 2? 11 to 1 just seems like a really short window.
I'm sure that's fine with them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll talk to Randy.
And then we're gonna strongly suggest people register ahead of time just to help us, but obviously if people show up unregistered, they're more than welcome to come.
What?
They're welcome to still attend.
For
yeah.
sure, yeah. Hopefully, you know, the sooner the better, I think, because this is our first year of this event. I think the sooner we get this out, the better. I know Petroy's is doing theirs the same day, but I think we kind of thought that Kamlaki was far enough away from Petroy to not really interfere with their area. But nothing ventured, nothing gained, I guess.
Are we gonna do like a Google form then for registration to get like name and number of children or something like that?
Well, I didn't know who wanted to kind of head that up. Keep a track of that stuff.
Is that, like, I feel like just liking the event isn't gonna be enough for registration.
Nicole, can you look at our registration software, see if there's an ability to put like a special event 1-day registration into it?
Okay.
People can go into and just register that way.
Sure. Then we don't have to worry about having anybody's personal information because then the town has it, not us.
So Adam, is that something that's on the website now?
It's linked through the website, yes.
Registration for,
Pool, CCC, anything, any facility that we rent. any service that we provide outside of operations.
Okay.
It's specifically a Parks and Recreation registration software.
Okay, well, that's actually cool. And if it works, then that would be slick.
And I understand that the hall will be not available that day, the office hall, because they're getting ready for a wedding or something.
Gonna be outside.
Yeah, it's gonna be outside, but the inside of the hall, they're getting ready for a wedding. Am I correct on that?
I talked to Jess today and she didn't mention anything about that, but I can double check.
One of the days I showed there was a wedding that he said,
On the Sunday, Gordon, wedding?
oh, that's a Sunday, it wasn't Saturday. I'm getting this.
Yeah, this is the Saturday.
That may be the problem. They may be they may be a set wedding Saturday and they have to clean up, right? So
Well, the event is Saturday, so maybe.
That's, it is, be a Saturday, be the wedding. I think there's a wedding that day in the hall.
I know June, like the June 8th when there's a wedding.
Okay, that's the date I'm getting mixed up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know June 8th, there's a,
okay. I knew there was one of the two I was speaking about.
but we'll double check that, Nicole.
Yeah, there's a prom.
Yeah.
That day, they'll probably be there in the afternoon to set up, but it actually won't start till 6 o'clock that night.
So if we're closing off the event at 2 and kind of out of there by 2:30, we should overlap, okay?
There might be a few cars in the parking lot if they're there early, setting up for the dance or whatever. But
Cause I imagine we'll, like, depending on how the weather is that weekend, we might want to have the event inside.
on weather, but
Yeah.
you may want to talk to Jess and confirm what's in the rental agreement. Because they get it typically anytime, first thing in the morning through to a set time. So we don't necessarily want to infringe upon their contract if they've already booked it.
Can you let me know tomorrow?
They're donating. They didn't know if they already come out.
But when you talked to Randy Gord, he didn't mention anything about there.
No, it's just when I called in here to get an idea and I knew there was something on that day that was gonna affect us. Must be, it may be that.
yeah, there's a prom that night.
They may want to be in there fairly early setting it up then, so that should confirm that right away, especially if their contract allows them to do so.
People want to use the washrooms, traipsing in and out, yeah. Good point.
If they do have prom there that night and we're unable to use the facilities during the day, is there anywhere else in Kilmont?
We could probably talk to the Optimists. They have their own portion of the hall in the back that we could probably use to set up some stuff for ourselves.
Do they still have access to the washrooms or how does that work?
Washrooms will be open at that time for ball season anyways.
Okay.
We can open the Kamlaki canteen washrooms and the porta potties would be there. In the June one I'm talking about.
Oh, sorry, we're talking about March 30th.
Oh, the March one?
I imagine we can still probably, if they're setting up the hall, they should be allowed to give us access to the washrooms.
Yeah.
They can walk that door
Yeah.
over into the hall.
But if it's raining and you want to use the hall. I think we need to confirm the dates. And if it's already been booked, you might have to adjust your date.
Do it on the Sunday.
Run into churchgoers Easter Sunday.
If we do it like 12 to 2 though, or like 12 to 3.
Even later.
Yeah.
Let's just kind of check with and find out what goes on. Brenda, you were looking at or Jessica was looking at some critters.
Yeah, so there's a place just outside of London, Little Tracks Petting Zoo. They do have like a pocket pet event, so it's 15 animals minimum. It's $2.95 an hour plus travel fees, but they're just outside of London. They can do it indoor, outdoor. They do the setup. They have like benches and stuff so the kids can sit and feed and pet the animals.
So in terms of little ant, what are we talking, like,
Screenshot it, 1 sec. So rabbits, hamsters, ducks, chickens, guinea pigs, chinchillas is what's listed for like the little pets. They have all different packages, so I mean, it depends on what you'd want, but that was like the little pocket pets, so.
so I think we thought the reasoning behind that was just an added feature, right? I know it kind of entails a whole different ball of wax with hand sanitizers and all that other stuff, right? But,
Imagine though, if they're a company, they'll have all the health and safety stuff
Yeah,
already.
they would have all their own insurance and everything, just like hiring anybody else, right? Would assume.
what we would have to find out, because I don't think that's been presented to, well. Okay, so if we rent the Kamalaki Community Center and nothing's going on, who do we have to ask that has authority? Is it the town that has authority, or is it the Huron Shores that kind of manage? Or do they manage that place?
Huron Shores Optimists are our partner in the community center.
Okay.
They manage the bar and the kitchen.
Okay.
And they assist the town with general events. But the town does manage it for general events, and so I think it would have to be us in that situation. Because you're a town committee, so you would rent the facility, be responsible for your own setup and your own cleaning afterwards. Unless they're involved in the event, they wouldn't necessarily do all that, so.
So Jessica, on this petting zoo, they would come with like an outdoor little area. Is that-
It said, like, on the website, it says you can do indoor or outdoor, so.
Well, I would feel safer outdoors, probably.
I'm just saying what the website said. I didn't reach out, cause I mean, I'm not gonna ask her to put a bunch of information if they're,
Oh, yeah, for
if you
sure.
don't even wanna go forward with that, so.
So, Adam, is that something that we'd have to present to the town and they would have to yay or nay it?
If they're small animals, they're properly contained and don't end up hiding in the facility for years to come. Don't necessarily see an issue with it. If we're talking larger animals, then yes, there would probably be some discussion. For something small of this nature, I think I am able to vet that.
They'd have to have, Mr. Chair, they would probably have to have like something down so the animals wouldn't
Absolutely.
have little mishaps.
They'd have to put sheets or plastic or something down, and they'd all likely be encaged and the kids would be picking up.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's all like that, like roped off. Kind of like the fair board when they have all the petting zoo there, like they bring the whole setup, like fence them all in. So I'm assuming it'd be very similar.
And if we're doing the event for 4 hours of that, how long, if you're interested, what would we want them for? Considering they're 300 an hour.
Well, 11 to 2 is only 3 hours.
Yeah.
I imagine you'd have to just have them for the 3
Yeah.
hours.
So 900 plus. Um,
Did you wanna go through some of the other costs associated with the event too, or?
yeah, I think it would be a good idea to at least talk about it now, even though we can still kind of go through and do it in the March one, but, earlier the better, I think, really. So I had in here Twisted Chris, which is the balloon guy we've always had. He has all kinds of balloon creations that he can do.
For Easter?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Strictly Easter stuff. Yep. So I had him penciled in for 2 hours because that seems to be his length of time that he can do it for. He's gone up a little bit from last year, but not by much, so I had him for 250. Face painting, Jill that was in the committee has all the utensils and she's still offered to come in and do it for us. So she figures all her supplies and stuff for that length of time would be about 100. Easter crafts and coloring, I just put in 75 because we really haven't talked much about that right now. So I don't really know what we plan to do for that. The egg hunt. I'm not one for planning that, so I think there's a couple people that offered to kind of take care of the egg hunting
So
scenario.
to purchase eggs,
Plastic ones, you mean?
plastic ones, were probably about $100 and $150 for enough eggs.
Okay.
To kind of scatter around for the kids to find.
Okay.
I think our general idea was that we would keep the eggs empty. And depending on the children's age, they had to find X number of eggs. Once they found those eggs, they would bring them back and then they would get a goodie prize of some sort. And then we'll have people redistributing the eggs.
Okay.
We'll probably have two different sections depending on the kids' ages, but we're still kind of working that part out, I think.
Okay.
The actual hunt,
Well, candy,
candy,
the
yeah.
price of candy, we don't.
Yeah.
Depending.
Yeah, like we're probably $2 to $3 per goodie bag per kid. By the time you fill them with some candy and some stuff.
So in your mind, how many are you figuring? Hopefully for participants?
I would say we probably need to have 300 goodie bags. What do you guys? Like we can reuse them at a later date too, if we end up with extras, but
Better safe than sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And if there's any left over, then the committee will just have to.
I'm gonna check.
At one time we were talking about a golden egg and a gift. Is that still maybe an option or?
Some of the egg sets I looked at, came with like 50 of one color, 50 of another color, and then 6 golden eggs. So we could do something like that. We could make a couple eggs very hard to find and do a larger prize for them.
Prize or something?
We need an Easter bunny. Did you get a price on the one that you had got?
150.
Buying a bunny for 150, Brad?
Costume.
And then,
Person to be advised.
The stuff for the photo
yeah,
area for the Easter bunny.
Yeah, I just have from daughter's weddings, we have like a board backdrop. And I thought we could make that kind of rustic and we could have an Easter bunny there for pictures.
so there's probably another $50-$60 and just kind of, well, probably closer to $100 and just like supplies for that kind of stuff.
I talked that it might be fun to ask the egg producers if they would like to be a part of the event.
Right. Mike and I were talking about that before you guys got here, and I think he was gonna approach them because you had a contact.
Brenda, I think,
Oh, you did?
I had spoke to Alicia McGlynn and she said she had already submitted for sponsorship. But wanted to know if this was something different that we were looking for.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I do have a rough, I think that's probably all the costs, more or less. Do you have a rough on that at this point?
Well, then I had put in, because it's the first event, advertising is critical. Right, so I had put in Facebook ads, usually we do 40, but I think we have to go. I had penciled in roughly 75, just to plaster the area. One newspaper thing, some flyers and advertising to different social media groups, which is $0. So. Approximately 1,500 plus whatever we decide for the unit out of London.
I think we should get a price on the petting zoo.
I'll see, I don't even know if they're available either,
Right.
so
To be
I can
honest,
send a message out and see.
like, I think this event's probably getting more expensive than what we want to set aside out of our budget for it. But I would be tempted to drop Twisted Chris before I drop the petting zoo. I think the petting zoo is something different that we don't have at any of the other events. It fits in well with the theme. And I don't. I mean, everyone loves balloon animals, but we do have it at a lot of the other events already.
So we'll say 1,500 plus whatever we can find out, Jessica, then from.
Send a message, see if they're even available on that date.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's funny how a little event like this, how quickly things can add up. Some of the stuff is like normal. The first year doing it, you have first year costs that you'll never have again. Unless we're wild with the costumes or whatever. That's just the way it goes. Advertising is kind of key in this one because it is new. Petroria does have one at the same time. I'm sure a lot of things just do, but. So do we just carry this one over then,
I think
find out?
we should probably make a motion at least for the goodie bags and the advertising and that kind of stuff. Because we'll wanna get that organized before, like especially the goodie bag stuff, we can probably order bulk stuff now that we still have a couple months leeway versus if we wait till next month. We're gonna be more.
Right. So are you guys safe in putting in a motion for 1,500 plus what we find out with the other?
Yeah, I think let's put a motion
Can we do that at?
for 1,500 and then if we have to add to it next month for the petting zoo, we can, but.
So you want to pass a motion approving the Easter event since it hasn't been discussed at the committee level yet? And that a budget be set for $1,500 for the event. Is that what you're leaning towards?
Question, why wouldn't you just do it all? If we don't do the petting zoo, that 1,000 just stays in the bank. Like, that way we don't have to again vote on it next time. Feel like we just duplicate things all the time.
Or do you want to wait till next meeting when you have a price on the petting zoo and then establish your budget and just pass a motion that confirming that you will be doing Easter? You still might have to move the date.
Right.
So it may be best that you wait till next meeting when you know the date and you know the pricing for the petting zoo. You can still work towards it, but March 30th is coming quick, so I understand why you want to get forward on this.
So then it's best just to go with the ask for the approval and then 1,500 and then we'll revisit it in March. Right? Is that what
If you want the petting zoo, you might be better off approving for the whole amount because you can always underspend and leave that money in the bank. So I don't know. That's up to you guys how you want to spend the money on that. You just need a motion authorizing the group to work towards that budget and that event that hasn't been.
So does somebody want to make that motion?
I make a motion to spend $2,500 on the Easter event for the items that we have described.
Seconded by Mike. All in favor? Carried. So I'll leave that with you, Jessica, to see what you can figure out from them. And then just on the chat, let us know.
We've got funding already possibly from the egg board or pending.
I think we're good. And just so you know, Twister Chris is gone for this event, just I have to let him know.
How does everyone else feel?
I feel like he's already been at other events, so.
I wasn't sure what all we were having, so that's why I penciled them in, so, okay. Okay. And okay, so then here's the other scenario, because we need something for the kids to do, so if the petting zoo is not available, do we We then bring him in for something extra for the kids to have. Because at this point, we would have the egg hunting and the face painting.
And the crafts.
Crap.
And the hot dogs and the chips, maybe, I think if this petting zoo place doesn't work, maybe we'll see if there's any other small animal.
Yeah.
There might be some others that might be options.
So is it safe to nix them then?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Always try to find something different.
Yep.
Instead of doing the same thing.
Okay, yep, that's fine. Going down the list, I'm not really gonna, oh, sorry, Gary.
Brad, just as an FYI for you, when you talk about advertising, when we presented our last senior of the year with an award, it was recognized that a lot of people in that area, like area, read the journal.
Mhm.
And some of them probably more than the Independent, although the Independent has the hot stories these days, but just as an FYI, if you wanted maybe look at something in the journal to let those people out there,
Are they still around?
they're electronic now.
Electronic, yeah. Okay. Okay. Anyone else have anything that they want to talk about for the Easter event? No, okay, so the other events I'm just gonna quickly touch on because we don't really need to talk about them.
Can I make a statement here? Are we talking about the other events right now? The picnic in the park in Kamwaki, the gazebo. We'd have to rent it off the baseball people. It is not put through the town. I can book it. I just want to know if I should book it.
So the gazebo is the one that's behind the play area, is that the
It's
one?
in between the ball diamonds.
Yep.
Okay, and it's there and I was told that it's booked through the baseball people.
We do that at Lamreck and. I thought we do the picnic park, that week for Lamreck.
Yeah, we're thinking about changing it because
We show one up there, so. There's only one up there, so is that in Wyoming or in the lake area?
that's gonna be the Kamlaki area. We're gonna do the first two events, in the Kamlaki area. We had looked at, I guess, maybe last time around, maybe something a little bit more central between the two areas. So we were thinking the community center, but it's busy that day with the wedding, I think, which is fine. And then there's going to be practice at all the ball diamonds.
Yeah, and we had talked about using the parking lot to the south side of the library and the green park to the north side of the library.
How about King Square? Because we have staff members that have kids in baseball in Kamlaki. And even during practice, it is very busy over there. All three diamonds are there. Every family brings one car. If you have a wedding and events trying to set up there, you're gonna be extremely busy with just people not even involved in the event. And it could get a bit of a challenge for the baseball players, for you guys with the special events and everything else. King Square is a fairly large piece of property. It's fairly underutilized. Parking is not the greatest, but there's lots of on-street parking in the Arrow Village area. And a lot of people in Arrow Village walk there too, so. There is parking for 4 or 5 cars each at the beach accesses. And and you can park along the side of the road at King Square as well, so, or on
Victoria Street.
Where is that?
downtown Arrow Village.
Is that the one behind Clarence Street?
Yes. It's got a very big open green space, probably as much as you used when you had the event at Lakeshore. So it might be worth going out there and having a look at that park.
Because that one will be fully generator, so, right?
Yeah, there's no electricity there whatsoever. There's
No gazebo there either,
no washroom there either,
no washroom there either.
but just food for thought.
Yeah, that was one of the things that, was to take that, the one main event for Wyoming and move it to Kamlaki just to more out that way.
I just worry about parking, because in theory, if we're not having one in Wyoming, some people from Wyoming will be coming.
Right.
Just with baseball, I mean, that's gonna be a busy, no parking zone.
Not keen on the idea of mixing with baseball. At that time of year, that parking lot is very busy throughout the whole weekend.
So do we go back to Lamrecton then? What are the other, like, so what other parks are in Kamlaki that have hydro and washrooms?
Lamrecton Lakeshore. That is it.
When are we doing the parking lot work there?
It'll be done early spring. We've already bought, most of the material already, so it's gonna get done through us.
Is there a chance that it wouldn't be done by June 8th?
It'll be done.
Maybe not.
Yeah, we've already pulled all the posts like on the one side, so.
Like, personally, I like using that park. I mean, we spent a lot of money at Lamrecton. It's a beautiful park across the street there. And there's lots of parking and there's some hydro.
The bathroom.
Shade, there's a place that,
It's got everything
Yeah, there's definitely places.
you need. And we've established it for 2 years there.
Yeah, I think
A lot of Brights Grove,
Mhm.
which is obviously we're doing our events for Plympton-Wyoming.
King Square's a nice area, but I think you're right, between the parking, the hydro and the lack of washrooms, it's maybe not the better idea.
Okay, so when it gets closer, we'll definitely investigate which one that we'll go with. I hope that we don't lose a lot of Wyoming people to only having one event, but we won't know until we try. So. Yeah. I just want to quickly touch on them, that's all. So Canada Day, June 29th. So flip one of these over so I can read it. Maybe it's June 29th, Canada Day. Now, last year, we decided we're moving that to McKay Park. We're moving on. We're going to have a discussion with Tina and probably Wayne. Are we?
Not Tina and Wayne, just
Oh.
Natalie.
Like,
Yeah.
about kind of amalgamating that event for July 20th. That's gonna be a safety information day, and we did talk around at that last meeting that we had in January about trying to incorporate the water ball tournament at that time.
Chief's aware of the date. My husband said he'd help like with it. So did Alex. He emailed the chief's gonna get him a list of fire halls to contact in this area, so. Started.
And with the safety day, will we be able to put in something about farm safety?
Yeah, there's, that was on one of the lists that we had, I think, last year for all of that stuff.
I just wanted to verify that we'd be able to put farm safety back in.
who does farm safety, like,
George and Agnes Dickinson, their secretary, not the president, there's a lady that's president, but George and Agnes are heads of it. That people. And they just had their AGM last week, so they're planning their events as well. So the sooner you get to them and see if they're available, would be great.
Okay. I can get that in the contact from you, Gary.
So before we get too far down the list, back to Canada Day, so you want to host that at McKay Park. You're gonna want to use the pool for free swimming that day then?
preferably?
Sure, yep. Like I said, as a committee, we really haven't talked anything else from June 29th on because we're only kind of worried about the first one right now, but we'll take whatever we can get, sure.
Start that following Monday.
Hmm.
Brad, the safety day with this talk about the bicycle safety. Are they supplying people to work on that part of it, or Does this committee have to take that on as well, or what's?
We're meeting with her.
With her to talk about what they have done, what they have booked, what they'd like help with. We haven't said, yes, we're doing it. We're gonna meet with them and see what they have to say.
And then that'll come back to the committee for discussion.
And then the last one is going to be December 14th, Christmas in the village.
Reach out to you about the water as well, for the water trailer refill station then that we have.
Yeah, I emailed Aqua and they got back to us, so they're available some of the dates, but not all those dates were on it, so I'll have to double check.
And just so I can throw this out there, I contacted all the food vendors, and given them all these dates, and we've got a huge selection we can pick and choose from, because they're all available. So, which is nice to have. Additional events are gonna be trivia nights and movie nights, but those are just kind of down there right now, just to. We're not committing to anything, but it would be nice if the weather cooperates to have movie nights this year. That's our plan of attack for.
The the water dispenser from Aqua is booked on the 8th, but it's not booked on the other dates that you provided.
And we reach out to Kern then for the 8th then to see if they would maybe help us with water. As far as, but
Yeah, I can email Katie and ask her, and we'll just buy the pump, because they won't donate it anymore, but see if we can buy the pump.
we should have the pump. I don't think they took it back last year. I thought it was in our box of stuff.
Okay.
Maybe they, I don't know, maybe we sent it back. I thought it. We should check.
We'll have a water fill station at that Washroom Dewey at this time. Something down the road, maybe.
We have just at the Lamb Recton across the road and at the pool. One, two spots, we have those right now.
Is there plans on putting one there?
Eventually, maybe, but not in the immediate future. It doesn't get enough traffic in that area.
Not yet.
Anyone else have any questions on the 2024 event so far?
So before we move on from the 2024 events, June 8th at the Lakeshore Park, one thing we maybe need to be mindful of, there's the owner of the adjacent lands and developer. He is getting close to getting his approvals. If he gets his approvals, he may start construction in May. If they do that, part of the construction is they'll have to negotiate the easement agreement with the town, or because they have to put the sanitary connection directly to the pump station, which is right up front at Lakeshore Park. And they also have to put the stormwater outlet through the park to that same area to make the grades work for the subdivision. So if it all happens at the same time, the western portion of the park would be a bit of a mess. So we'd have to be mindful of that and probably have to fence off if it's an active construction area.
So do you mean on the parking lot area?
Parking lot should be fine.
Oh, okay.
Basically where the pump station is that little concrete structure with the control panel just off by the lake, by the road. From there on an angle across just behind those houses, out to hit the farm field there is where it would go.
That's on the east side then.
Yeah. Along the east side, heading out.
Down the
So-
east side.
If the event occurred like it did last year, other than the people parking that drove in past the pump station and parked along those trees, they probably couldn't do that. But everything else would probably be fine. So you may have to move your overflow parking to the, like the summer send off did behind the field there, and then push your events a little bit further southeast. To avoid that parking in that area.
Yep, no, that's fine, then. Okay.
Also, just one thing I want to be careful with is last committee meeting, we didn't really have a set of events this committee meeting, we kind of had a quasi set events with a poster made. Setting the events you want to carry out for the year is a pretty significant decision, should be done in the open forum. So I know, I appreciate everything you guys do as the subcommittees. But finalizing what events you're gonna do for the year, you should do at the full committee level. And then planning what you do within those events can be done within your subcommittees, and when you need approval for spending and stuff like that, that's when it comes back here. We want to make sure we're doing those planning for those events in the public eye, please, thank you.
Anybody else, anything on that? Okay, moving on, 5.3 sponsorships, sponsorship letters have been out, response is really good, Mike.
So far, we have 3 platinum, 4 platinum, which is $1,000. The gold is 500, and so far we have 2 of those. Silver is 250, and so far we have 2 of those. And bronze is 100, and we have 5 of those so far. Things are looking fairly good, I would say.
Yeah, there's a couple people that I have chatted with, are actually, without hesitation, quite excited to sponsor again, which is nice. You know, they appreciate what we're doing, so. That was kind of nice to hear that feedback, and I think you got some of that too, Mike, in your travels. So. I know you've got a bunch of letters out, I've got a bunch of stuff out.
If anybody wants letters, I just happen to have them here tonight.
Did you ever find that decon? Or where, when you were talking about it?
Brad has a
I think
connect.
that's
Dave.
so Brenda, what about the egg producers then? You said they did drop one off already?
No, I just
Oh.
messaged Alicia today and she has presented the egg board with
Oh, okay.
sponsorship. And she doesn't have a letter, but she just said that she had reached out to them, letting them know that she wanted to sponsor the special events committee again.
Okay.
And then I wasn't really sure what we were thinking of for our Easter egg extravaganza or so I didn't really ask her for anything. He said to let her know, but I wasn't really sure what we were looking for, if they were already, depending on what they were donating.
Right. It would be kind of nice if we could have the petting zoo sponsored by, you know, or even a portion of that.
It's pretty clever tie-in. It's a good idea.
Yeah.
I feel like eggs, Easter, like instead of coloring, maybe, you know, eggs to like dyed eggs or something, like I don't know, where we had talked about the egg spoon game for the picnic, but maybe that would be a fun thing to do as an Easter egg. Maybe it's just providing eggs. I don't.
Adding on to what Brenda's saying, the egg producers really like to get involved in the community. They're very active in agriculture in the classroom that we hold in town in September. And they're very hands-on, so, you know, maybe they have somebody that would like to help out doing something with the eggs as well. Maybe a question to ask them that when you're talking to them, Brenda.
So can I leave that with you, Brenda, to kind of see where you can get with them or your group? Okay. Mike, anything else on that? No? Okay, thank you. Member recruitment. Not sure what that's.
Aaron told me to put it on.
Who?
Aaron.
Yeah, so you're down a few members. We looked at the terms of reference, determined that yes, you can elect a vice chair. And then yes, that you should probably advertise for new members based on the loss of a few members over the last 2 years.
How many can we have on the committee?
Well, in terms of reference, which I did not bring. with me,
I think it said between 8 and 10.
Not including Alex.
So you have room for 3 more.
Do I have to ask for a nomination for a vice chair then?
Yes, sir.
Do we have any takers for vice chair? Is that you would like to do, or you're nominating somebody?
Oh, I was gonna nominate myself. Nominate you. But I don't know if anybody else. No. I'll nominate.
All in favor? Nominated. Yay, thank you. And then, so for recruiting other members, Adam probably just put an ad in the paper then, whatever you normally would do and on the board and.
I think you're already working on it or had already looked into it at least. We'll be working on it. We talked about it.
You can tell there was that mental flip. Okay.
Take long to put out. It's literally be the same advertisement that you after the last term of council, so.
Okay. Food trucks at the parks. So I know the town is looking at RFPs for food trucks. Mobile refreshment vehicles. How is that going to work with what the town or with what we put together for our events?
Your events are exempt because it's a special event hosted by the town.
Okay, so we can still recruit and
Yes.
and we're not going to offend the people that if they get allowed to come to the parks.
Unless you ask me to host the event at Lamrecton, I might have a problem because we do have a contractor who submitted an RFP who is likely gonna get awarded that RFP. But any other park where there's no contractual food vendor, it's likely a non-issue.
But even with Lamrecton, I think in the contract it says that special events can take place.
Lamrecton is just, as we noted before, it's not, its passive nature does not make itself ideal for events. Where Lakeshore is much more open and easier for special events. And they work well together because people park at Lamrecton and walk over anyway, so.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, I've got the whole list of the vendors that have all agreed, so we can sit down and kind of determine who does what when. Because some of them asked me so they can pencil in for sure, but we're all penciled in with everybody right now. And I told them I had to have a meeting first, then I'm gonna get back to them.
Al, did we get the 220 outlet put in to Lakeshore?
Yes, it was supposed to be done before Christmas, so.
So whoever your first contractor is, they don't have to use a generator because we do have a actual proper plug for food trucks out there now.
It's just one plug, right?
Just
Just one dog.
There's still two 110s?
Yeah, and we included another one over in the pavilion.
Oh, nice, okay. Well, that's good. Okay. Yeah, that's good, actually. I think that's all that I have. I did have a kind of a, if you can pull up the flyer, Nicole, for Easter extravaganza. This was temporarily what I have done, with just because we have to add a bunch of stuff onto it. So that's a really rough idea of what it's gonna look like, and we'll have to fine tune it with, what we find out from London, if that's a go. And,
Register.
and if the, people are gonna participate, yeah, so.
registration might be a challenge. Even through our system, it's a bit complicated. You gotta put all your personal information in, so just to register for a free event, that actually might discourage. You may be better off just planning for like as many kids as you would see at the Christmas in the village kind of thing, give or take. And then if you run out, you can run out.
Well, you know, Patrol, you have to pre-register, and Sarnia you have to pre-register. Wonder if that's maybe just done through an email then, probably. Yeah.
Is it- Our registration system will work, but it's, you have to go through and put like, oops, everything in there, date of birth, everything,
If you already have it in for swimming, does it,
if they do swim lessons, yes. So it just might be an extra step that people may not want to do, just food for thought.
Hey, also, you know, different communities up there, like Hillsborough and that have their own. uh, Facebook or something.
Yeah, so there are a couple. I think Hillsborough definitely does. They have a private one. Blue Point's got a private. So it's just finding people within those ones.
Yeah, if we can get into them and put it on their Facebook.
I think I might know someone in the Blue Point one.
Maybe.
Yeah, Councilor Rodriguez can help us with Blue Point for sure.
Yeah.
And Hillsborough, we can probably find a way to get them shared in there.
Hillsborough, Gillimer.
Gallery, yeah. And then we can also see if the especially since they're partnering with, I'm sure the Optimus will put it up on their sign too. And that road sign gets a lot of eyeballs.
That one does, that's providing they haven't got something on. I'll speak to Bruce. I was planning on doing that as soon as we.
I should probably put it on here too. Yeah, at the wellness center.
It's not fixed, is it, by your downward eyes?
Thought it was.
It's supposed to be.
Wi-Fi bridges had to be sent away to get repaired, so
By March it should be, wouldn't it?
I hope this week.
Electronics, do you ever want to put a date on it right now?
You get the extended warranty? No.
I didn't install the system. No responsibility.
I don't have anything else. Does anyone else have anything else?
I know Nicole and I have been talking about accounts payable listings. We'll be ready for next meeting to start doing that. So,
When you have any invoices or payables, just send them in to me. I'm gonna do an actual payable list,
Okay,
take care of it from there.
so then the committee will have an opportunity to review all the payables. They'll be endorsed by a motion of the committee, and that way it's also being accounted for in a public manner. Just to make sure that we're falling in line with all the other committees of the town.
Do you want checks too? Or should we bring them in through the daytime?
Checks as in like donation checks?
I've had some brought into the town office.
We don't typically account for revenue, but this committee acts very differently, so I think it wouldn't be a bad idea to show in the payables what's coming in, what's going out, so you could do two listings, kind of like we do for water and sewer, but instead of one would be for payables, one would be for.
Yep.
And then that way people too are seeing donations as they come in from local businesses too, so.
so we do have a bunch of checks to give you tonight. But I'd like a photocopy of them, just so that Mike can keep track of all of it in his system.
Or I could bring them in tomorrow, to Keegan, whoever's on the desk, and then I'll have the receipts too.
Yeah, that's the other thing I was gonna ask about, charitable receipts. Does everyone who donates gets a charitable receipt?
They will.
Good. Because a lot of them have asked me for that, and I said I would find out and I deliver them to them.
will they get done now or will they get done for years?
They get done when we receive them. Typically.
So it's up to you, Mike. Do you want to bring them tomorrow or do you
I can
want?
bring them tomorrow.
Okay. I guess we're not giving you checks tonight.
We're getting the receipts till tomorrow anyway, so.
So the one of the things we do have to, it's kind of not on here, but we have to then do a next subcommittee meeting with Natalie, was it? So have you reached out to her, Jessica?
Let her know when in February.
Okay. What, we need you back on the committee.
8, 15 and 20 this month.
Are
Available.
available, 8, 15,
3/22. There's 3 Thursdays in a row, depending on I mean, gonna Zoom will be one for the Eastern.
Neville.
Oh, right, yeah.
So Thursday, the 15th or the 22nd, and here, right, in the back room?
I'm not here on the 15th.
Okay.
Entry.
We could do the 22nd, but it is getting. It's, I just Easter's the end of March. We can do the 22nd.
Everyone okay with the 22nd? Okay, Alex. Because one of the things that we really, we, you know, we always, this meeting is always scheduled. Or we always know, and we're always kind of trying to pick a date that works for everyone. I would like to try and set one meeting for sure, and then one subcommittee meeting well in advance, so that kind of all work towards.
If we don't do it here, then we can 12 or 13 next week. Well, for me personally. Because there's committee of adjustment and
Okay.
fire exec here.
So the 22nd was for here, or the 12th or 13th, somewhere else.
I'm here the 12th and 15th.
I think that's all we-
I'm gone for the week.
Okay.
Okay. 22nd it is? 30? Okay, or 7 or quarter of 7 or
7:15, please.
7:15?
So that's a subcommittee meeting? You're gonna host it here or?
Alright. At the kitchen table or something. That's okay.
What time?
15.
I don't think there's.
Check the calendar, just so there's nothing there.
Anything else from anybody?
Safety day, where were you planning on hosting that? I might have missed it, sorry.
That would be McKay Park.
I know you've discussed possibly changing the location to Christmas, but you'll discuss that further closer to the date.
We are shooting for McKay Park on that one, the growth of the event, which is great to see. But I don't want to set that in stone just yet, I guess, until everyone else kind of has their say.
And it's a great event where it currently is with the Optimus Hall right there, so. It might bears discussion for sure. Yeah, Lions Hall. Thank you, sir.
They're probably watching.
Lions.
If nothing else, I have a motion here, move. Jessica, seconded by Brenda, that special events committee be adjourned and special events committee meeting to be held March 4th at 7 p.m. Who's all in favor? Very, thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Just a side note, we should probably send, Nicole, you'll want to send an email to Jess, just book the gazebo for those two summer events at McKay Park. Okay, so they don't get booked by a family who gets a private or special event going around them.